You know that feeling, right? That absolute click when something difficult just snaps into place.
Yeah. Or when someone you care about really gets you without you having to spell it all out.
Exactly. It's like a light switches on. Everything just makes sense.
Hmm.
But then, think about the flip side. That awful frustration, maybe even isolation, when you feel totally misunderstood.
We're staring at something vital you just can't grasp. It's a horrible feeling.
That contrast, that sharp difference, is exactly what we're diving into today.
Understanding.
Yes,
Okay.
understanding. And looking at the sources you shared, there's a podcast, an article, some really detailed research notes. There's this powerful suggestion running through them all.
Which is?
That understanding might not just be, important. It could actually be the fundamental key to a truly flourishing life. It's quite a big claim.
It is a big claim, and it seems to pop up everywhere in this material.
So our mission today for this deep dive is really to unpack all that. Let's pull out the key insights, the sort of nuggets from these sources.
And try to figure out why understanding is being framed this way, as this unseen architect building our lives.
Yeah, and the fundamental key to existing well. And like you said, the sources suggest this isn't just some abstract idea.
No, not at all. It touches pretty much every single part of your life, or so the argument goes.
Okay, so where do we start? The definition, maybe.
I think that's crucial because one of the first things these sources hammer home is the difference between just knowing stuff, accumulating facts.
Right, like trivia.
Kind of. You can have all the data points, all the facts about someone or something, but understanding, that's different.
How so?
The material describes it as grasping the essence, the implications, the connections between the facts.
Okay, so it's not just having the puzzle pieces.
Exactly. It's seeing how they fit together, seeing the patterns,
Yeah.
empathizing with why someone feels a certain way, recognizing cause and effect. One note actually called it knowledge in motion.
Knowledge in motion, I like that.
Yeah, and it brings us back to that contrast you mentioned at the start.
The feeling of connection versus frustration.
Right. That powerful sense of clarity and connection when you understand or feel understood versus that isolation, that stagnation when you don't. The sources really frame it as empowerment versus feeling stuck.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's connect the dots, like the sources say we should. The article talks about understanding as this unseen architect in different life areas. Where does it start its work? Relationships seem like a big one.
Definitely a prime example in material. Understanding there is called the empathy engine.
Empathy engine.
Yeah. It's presented as going way beyond just hearing words. It's about actively trying to grasp the emotions behind the words,
Okay.
recognizing unspoken needs, maybe, and crucially considering the context, like someone's history, what shapes their reactions right now.
So it's not just reacting to what they say, but understanding why they might be saying it.
Precisely. There was this research note mentioning a study with couples, just trying to see the other's perspective for 5 minutes during a conflict.
Just 5 minutes.
Yeah, just the attempt apparently led to a significant drop in hostility. So this deeper understanding builds empathy, trust, helps navigate conflict.
And the lack of it.
Well, the sources are pretty stark. Miscommunication that doesn't get fixed, resentment builds up, and relationships can just crumble.
Wow. Okay. Empathy engine in relationships.
Yeah.
Got it. What about work? Career, purpose. The article called Understanding the Strategic Compass there.
Yeah, absolutely essential for, getting anywhere professionally. It's understanding your market, what customers really need, maybe even things they haven't said.
And yourself, too.
Oh, definitely. Recognizing your own strengths, your weaknesses, honestly, and seeing the bigger picture, the industry, where you fit in.
It sounds very outward and inward looking at the same time.
It is. The podcast shared this story about a leader who turned a struggling team around.
How? New strategy.
Not really rules or strategy on paper, more by taking time to deeply understand what motivated each person, what challenges they faced individually.
So understanding the people.
Exactly. Effective leaders understand people and the environment. And finding purpose. That's linked directly to understanding how your specific skills, your passions,
Can actually contribute something meaningful.
right, understanding your unique contribution, not just your job title. Seeing the connection.
That's a great example. Okay, let's move inward then. Personal growth. Understanding as the inner mirror. What's that about?
This felt maybe the most foundational piece in the sources. Self-understanding. paramount.
Knowing yourself.
Truly knowing yourself, not just what you like or dislike, but your core values, your
Wow.
triggers, what sets you off and why, your real aspirations versus maybe what you think you should want.
And strengths, limitations.
All of it, your underlying beliefs. And the research notes really stress this isn't just like idle navel gazing. No, this self-awareness is what lets you make conscious choices rather than just reacting all the time.
So it helps you break patterns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unhealthy patterns often rooted in old misunderstandings about yourself or your past. It's about aligning your life with who you actually are.
Instead of being pushed around by external stuff.
Yes, precisely. Without that inner mirror, the sources suggest you feel adrift. It's positioned as the absolute foundation for resilience, authenticity, and self-acceptance.
That sounds huge. The ripple effects. And okay, inevitably, we face challenges, problems. Understanding is called the solution catalyst here.
Right, because effective problem solving, according to this material, relies completely on deep understanding. Meaning, going beyond just treating symptoms, you have to actively look for the root causes.
Digging deeper.
Yeah. Dissecting the problem, figuring out where it really started, analyzing all the interconnected parts, how A affects B, affects C.
So you can see the whole system.
And then envision holistic solutions, solutions that address the core issue, not just the surface stuff. The article used an example of community issues understanding the why.
Like historical factors, systemic things.
Exactly, not just slapping on a superficial program. That depth of understanding leads to more creative, sustainable, well, real solutions, impactful ones.
Okay. And then there's this broader, maybe more philosophical angle, finding meaning, understanding as the meaning weaver.
Yeah, this is where it gets quite expansive. It's about starting to grasp the interconnectedness of, well, everything.
Like our place in the world.
Our place in nature, the cosmos, life cycles, our shared humanity. When you start to understand these complex systems, it often brings a sense of wonder, appreciation.
How so?
The podcast talked about understanding things like ecological balance or big historical trends. It can shift your perspective from feeling small and isolated.
To feeling part of something bigger.
Exactly. That kind of understanding can apparently ease anxieties about, what's it all about, foster a sense of belonging. It helps you take all the messy threads of your life.
And weave them into a narrative that makes sense.
A purposeful narrative that makes sense to you, that imbues daily life with more significance.
So it really seems vital across the board. Relationships, work, self, problems, meaning. But, and this is important, the sources insist this isn't passive.
No, definitely not. You don't just wait for understanding to happen to you. It's presented as an active pursuit, something you have to cultivate.
How do we do that then? What are the methods?
The material highlights several key things. It starts with curiosity.
Just asking why.
Yeah, that fundamental desire to ask why and really want to know the answer, to go deeper.
Okay, why not?
Active listening, which is described as really trying to absorb the other person's perspective, their emotions, not just waiting to talk.
Harder than it sounds sometimes.
Definitely. Then critical thinking, analyzing information, questioning your own assumptions, spotting biases in yourself and others.
Essential.
Empathy, too. The willingness, the effort to try and step into someone else's shoes, seen as a deliberate practice.
And not just a feeling, but an action.
Right. Also, open-mindedness. Being willing to challenge your own beliefs, embrace new ideas, even if they contradict what you thought you knew.
Challenging.
And reflection. Taking time to process experiences, connect the dots, pull out the lessons.
And humility.
Crucial. Admitting when you don't know. Being willing to say, I need to learn more here, or help me understand your perspective. It really emphasizes seeking diverse views, engaging in dialogue.
It's a continuous process, then.
Very much so.
What's fascinating, too, is how this isn't just, a self-help buzzword. The research notes point out its importance across different academic fields.
That's right. It's not some new age concept. Its significance is deep-rooted. You see it in philosophy, epistemology, understanding knowledge itself. Thinkers like Plato weren't just fact-collecting.
They were grappling with deeper principles.
Exactly. And psychology, cognitive, developmental, how we process information, build mental models. Piaget, Vygotsky, their life's work was about how children develop understanding.
And social psychology, too, understanding each other.
Yes. Empathy, perspective-taking. Sociology looks at shared meaning in societies, how interactions build understanding, or how misunderstandings cause friction.
Even neuroscience.
Yeah, emerging neuroscience is actually trying to map how the brain physically creates that aha moment, that feeling of coherent understanding.
Wow. So seeing it echoed across Philosophy, psychology, sociology, neuroscience.
It really reinforces the core message from the sources, doesn't it? Understanding isn't just a nice to have. It seems to be a fundamental human process for navigating the world with, well, with wisdom and purpose, not just facts.
Which brings it right back to you, the listener, as the sources kept emphasizing. This isn't just theoretical.
No, it directly impacts your daily life, your relationships, your work, your growth, your sense of meaning.
And framing it as something you can actively cultivate, that feels empowering, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It suggests you have tools, you have agency to navigate complexity and shape your life more intentionally with more clarity.
Because, as the sources suggest, understanding isn't some final destination you reach.
No, definitely not a checkbox. It's a continuous process, a journey of learning, adapting, evolving throughout life.
So, if understanding really is this fundamental key, as these sources propose, maybe the question for you to ponder is this. What specific area of your life could benefit most if you started actively seeking a deeper level of understanding, maybe starting today?
That's a powerful question to leave with. Keep being curious, keep questioning.
And keep understanding.